quick and efficient manner. So this is going to last probably about 30 to 40 minutes at the most. Depending on your questions, we'll stretch it out to about an hour max. But I'm all about snack sizing things and making sure that you get information as concise as possible so that you can move on with your day. You want to be able to consume the info and keep it moving, right? Okay, so as we talk about daily success rituals for mindful marketers, what I have to do is to introduce myself, which I really didn't do a good job of over the last few minutes, but you kind of get a feel for my style. So I'm very relaxed. For me, these presentations are more fun than they are out of desperation. And I know you know the difference because you'll see sometimes when people are delivering a webcast or a webinar that it sounds like they're instantly trying to hold back from selling you something because there's something at the end. But when I deliver webinars, yeah, sure, I might have an offer at the end, but ultimately the most important thing to me about delivering to you this information is that I think that it works, that it's good for you, it's good for your business, it's good for your life. So to me, it's all about making sure that I'm impacting the lives that I've said that I wanted to impact. And whoever is on this call or on this webinar right now, you're the one that's intended to get this. So I just want to let you know I appreciate you coming and spending your time with me. Secondly, I want to introduce myself in terms of just letting you know why I'm even talking about this topic. So a couple of years ago, my husband, Preston, was diagnosed with cancer. And it was just a big blow to our entire ecosystem in our household. So not only did that situation impact us as a family just on an emotional level, but it also impacted everything that we do. So from a productivity standpoint, and having dealt with this for a few years, the fact that he travels in addition to, he was going through this cancer treatment and all of the things that come with that, I was just stressed out because I have two young kids. I have two pets, also family members. I have a full-time corporate job in addition to running an almost full-time business. So there were a lot of things that were happening, a lot going on in our household. And then on top of that, like I said, he was diagnosed. And so as we went through all of these different things, and as I was trying to manage the household, manage the business, manage the corporate job, manage the kids, I realized that I had to take a different path. I had to use a different approach from what I was using before that, and to start really chunking down everything that I do. And so out of that whole scenario, out of that situation and that life challenge was born something called snack size marketing, which I was really all in for an entire year, probably about a year and a half. And a lot of it had to do with me teaching marketers and entrepreneurs how to chunk down their own existing content they'd already created into small, profitable bites that they could share on social media and stay visible while they were engaged in something else. So I became a master at doing that. And I shared that with a lot of other people, but I frequently was being asked to not only talk about and teach social media marketing, I was also asked to do social media marketing for other people in addition to my own business. And so that was yet, towards the end of that year and a half, another big chunk of responsibility that I'd taken on, even after my husband was healed and the cancer was removed and all the tests and things and chemo was done. I still found myself just really rapidly running on the hamster wheel, right? And I found that I was overwhelmed, that I wasn't feeling fulfilled anymore, that I was even starting to become somewhat resentful of my business. And so in the process of taking a step back and really self-examining and evaluating again, I decided there were certain things I was no longer going to do. I was no longer going to do social media marketing for other people because, frankly, that was never something I really wanted to do. I love to teach and to coach. I love to share strategy. I love problem solving. But I did not love doing the done-for-you type of packages and work. And so at some point, I realized that I had a choice, and I could say, no, that's not what I do. You know, we have this fear of missing out sometimes when we say no. And so it was difficult for me to do that. In fact, I made such a drastic decision at that time, or at the end of that time of evaluating where things were, that I decided, to move out of my snack size marketing business altogether and try a new approach. But first, it had to start with internal changes and with things that I was doing in my own life. And so, as I made these changes, and one of the biggest changes that I made was to change how I worked my mornings. That's what we're going to be talking about today, because that made a huge impact and a difference in the way that I worked the rest of my day. And so saying no was part of that, but also, again, making some of the changes that we're going to be talking about today was huge. And so I ask you this question: what if you could do all those tasks that you never seem to have time to do? If you could change all those habits you want to change, if you could say no, and if you could just achieve your personal business goals for every day? That's what we're talking about today. What if you could do this and feel energized and motivated and inspired instead of frazzled, burnt out, depressed, and resentful? And one of the best and most painless ways to actually achieve this really is in adjusting that morning routine. It didn't mean adopting a whole new life change. And for me, it didn't mean keeping unrealistic schedules that go south at the first intrusion of real life. What I'm talking about is just changing the first 2 hours of your day before you start checking that email, before you get on Facebook, before you do your social media. So changing what you do in the first 2 hours of your day may not seem like that big of a deal. And really the good news is that it isn't, because it's very easy to do. But these are the most important hours of your day. And if you think about this analogy, let me give you this. So think about a snowball that's at the top of a hill. And maybe it's about, 10 inches in diameter, so about 10 inches round. And just start rolling it down this snow-covered hill, right? And it picks up more and more snow, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. By the time your snowball reaches the bottom of the hill, depending on the type of the snow and the depth of your hill, it's probably easily 3 to 4 times the circumference or the diameter that you started with. So it's 3 to 4 times bigger. And you didn't spend a whole lot more time or energy even packing it up with snow. You just started it off at the right spot. And the momentum took over. It tripled or quadrupled the efforts and grew it all by itself. So that's what changing the first 2 hours of your day can do for you. It makes you achieve better results. It gives you more energy and less stress than if you forced yourself to rearrange every single work hour. And the effect is huge. It's huge on your day. So we're going to talk a little bit about how this can work for you. That's what this is about. It's about you. So step one, and we're going to give you 6 steps this morning. Step one is to get ready for success. Let me take a real quick sip of water here. All right, man, that bronchitis stays with you. So rather than leaping up and rushing through a list, what I want you to do in the mornings is really to pre-plan and prepare yourself for the success that we're talking about. So the first step is to set your alarm a little earlier than usual. If you do this, then you're going to have time to really make the most of the next morning's first few hours. And so one of the things that I did, I was getting up probably closer to, about 6 or so in the morning to start my day. And I would immediately go over to the computer and start hopping on social media and my clients' pages and looking at stats and all of those other things. And what I decided to do instead is to wake up at 5. So I wake up at 5, and then I have a little extra time to do some of the things that we're going to talk about next. Another tip is to go to bed a little earlier, because if you're going to make that change, especially when I made it to 5, it was no easy task to get up that early and not change my go to bed time. So make sure you get enough sleep. You don't need to try to get up earlier and going to bed at your usual time, because again, that makes it very challenging for you to do. You're losing an hour, or your body's going to feel like you're losing an hour of sleep if that happens. Open your curtains. If you know you're not likely to get out of bed the first thing, then do this. Open them the night before, right before you ever hop under the covers. I know that sounds kind of weird, and it depends on where you live and who may be passing by. So, make sure that you have some privacy there. Another tip to get ready for success is to drink water. I know the urge for coffee is overpowering, and I'm a coffee drinker too. But sip that glass of water first. And if you hate the taste of water, try a slice of lime, try a slice of lemon, maybe even an orange or a cucumber I found to also be excellent. I love putting a container of water with sliced cucumbers in it the night before, and then wake up in the morning and have cucumber water. It's awesome. Really tastes great. You can even add a little mint. If you don't like water that's at room temperature, make sure you've prepared fresh ice cubes the night before, or that you have those available. And if you really can't stand water, try a quality green tea. But don't put sweetener or sugar in it, because that will defeat the purpose. If you're in a pinch, you could try those flavor drops from the supermarket, but really the purer you can keep your water, the better the health results. If you can add even 15 minutes of exercise to your routine, you're going to reap a ton of benefits. Pick your own exercise. It doesn't have to be that brutal aerobic workout. You don't have to run 5 miles a day unless you like doing those things, because, maybe that's what you love. I am not the runner, but even people who are mobility challenged can often find a form of exercise that they can easily do in the home for 15 minutes. You can try yoga. There's a wonderful free site that you can learn to use, or that you can learn how to do yoga with, and it's called wheelchair yoga. And another tip is going to be to start the day with a fresh green smoothie. So I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but let me go back to exercise for a real quick minute, because one of the things I want you to think about is that there really are a ton of options out there. And as we get ready to prepare for the new year, you're going to find that there's so many potential opportunities for you to grab that next piece of equipment, or to simply invest in, for instance, something like a Beachbody program, or your favorite, exercise guru that's on TV. But find a way to really get yourself into some type of exercise. It could just be a 15-minute walk. It could be a walk around your neighborhood. Personally, I do 15 minutes on a treadmill. I do actually a little more than that. But you can start there if you're not used to doing exercise. Walk around your house. Go up and down your stairs. Even put on your favorite CD and just dance for 15 minutes. So those are some of the things that I want to share with you just in regards to that. And here's that wheelchair yoga site, by the way. It's mayallbehappy.org, wheelchair yoga. So you can easily do this type if you're mobility challenged at all, and I know some of you may be, then that is a free site that you can use to learn wheelchair yoga. Okay. On the green smoothie, so you can try a green smoothie, and if you do it even a week, you're going to notice a positive difference very quickly. I was talking with a good friend of mine the other day, CJ, and he was doing, I can't think of her name right now, but I think it might be Jay Smith, but he had done a green smoothie challenge. He did a 5-day green smoothie challenge, and he lost several pounds doing that. Here's the thing, morning smoothies do have noticeable benefits, and I know I'm not an avid smoothie drinker, or haven't been in the past, but it's one of the things that I'm about to pick up because I keep hearing so many positive things. So here's some noticeable benefits that are documented. It can stop heartburn, reduce or eliminate hunger between meals and food cravings, help you lose weight, heal your intestines, solve a lot of bowel problems, give you more energy. So these are things that I've read as I was looking and researching about the green smoothie. So if you can do all those things, and I can tick off any of the boxes that we just mentioned, then that's amazing. A lot of my friends have talked about using or trying the magic bullet. And I'm sure there's probably some type of Black Friday, Cyber Monday sale going on with these things. I think it averages around $39. You just use the magic bullet and the fresh fruits and vegetables of your choice. And then you can add a little crushed ice, and voila, there's your smoothie. Let's see. Oh, there's also, I forgot to mention this, and it's right here on the page. There's a free 21-day green smoothies for breakfast challenge that you'll see on this page. There's a link for that. So Kristen Joy of the Book Ninja and life coach Therese Barbie endorse the practice. So if you're a breakfast skipper, and I usually am, I skip breakfast a lot. I know it's not the best thing, but try this as a potential solution for you, because feeling healthier and having more energy is going to help you to adopt other good habits and give you the mental sharpness that you need to succeed. And that's really what we're trying to do, is to start our day off positively so that we can have the results we want. So let's talk about step 2, and this is feeding your soul. This is my favorite part. And that's we talked about the physical wake up to your system, but you don't want to skip again. You don't want to do all those things and then go right into Facebook or email. You need to take time to nourish your soul. And the beauty is that you don't have to adopt every single method that I'm going to suggest. But even if you take a few of these, just one suggestion that resonates with you, it's going to be super helpful for you. I promise you. And this is where I had the biggest results and the biggest impact, is by adding these to my morning routine. Another sip. And again, if you have questions, if there's anything popping up for you, I'll scan the comments in just a minute to make sure I'm not missing that. Okay. So read or listen to a book or podcast. This could be self-help, motivational, inspirational, business, or spiritual. That is one of my favorite things to do. There are so many different tools and apps that will help you to do this. If you can't read it directly, if your eyes are getting, a little more mature, those of us over 40 get that, right? Then Audible is it's a fantastic option. Audible, AUDIBLE.com. I buy books there all the time. In fact, I have a routine, because I purchased the basic program that they have, where they deliver you a free credit that you can use on any Audible book, excuse me, for that month. So I love that. In fact, I've been thinking about increasing it, because I'm really consuming more books than just the one each month. So that is a way to do that. There are also other tools. I can't think of the one that I want to, but I will add it somewhere here for you when I can think of it, because there's another one that has an app that's very easy to use. Practice a gratitude attitude. This means it's about as simple as this, okay? Don't allow yourself to get out of the bed in the morning until you think of at least 1 to 3 things that you're grateful for. So if you're writing in a journal, what you can do is adopt that habit to write in a daily inspiration journal. Write it and put 3 things I'm grateful for today. This habit is really easy to get into, and it hardly takes any time at all. It's one of the little habits that can really, truly transform your life. Now, honestly, I don't do mine in the morning. I do mine in the evening. There's a cute little book called The Morning Sidekick Journal. It's Conquer Your Mornings, Conquer Your Life. It is one of my favorite all-time purchases ever. The Morning Sidekick Journal. And so what it does is it gives you space to write both in the morning and in the evening. Because I have adopted so many different habits for my morning, this one is one that actually for me goes to the evening, but you could certainly do it in the morning, and it's a very positive way to really just kickstart you into thinking about the things that are good and helpful to you. Use relevant affirmations. Words have power. So if affirmative statements resonate with you or inspire you, then make that part of your 2-hour morning routine. I love this one. because I tend to use a couple of different apps, and one in particular that I love is called Insight Timer. So Insight Timer gives you the ability to be able to listen to affirmations and meditation exercises. It's all kinds of goodness in this app, and it's free. Insight Timer. What I do is I typically will find a certain affirmation there, or I will use another app called Think Up, Think Up. Think Up is another really amazing one. Now, the difference between the two is that Insight Timer has a little bit more meditation variety, whereas Think Up is all about you recording your own voice, which get this now, this is a really good tip. You're recording your own voice making positive statements, statements that help to boost your subconscious, right? Because you're hearing your own voice, you're talking to yourself. So what you do is you take the time to go through, when you download the Think Up app, you go through, you pick out the affirmations that you want to record. You record yourself into your phone or your tablet saying these things. And so then in the morning, and this is my favorite one, in the morning you're playing it back. And you can give it a time. So I choose 7 minutes every morning. And what I do is replay all of these positive, encouraging statements that I'm telling myself. And the more you hear yourself telling yourself, because this is all an impact on your subconscious mind, the more likely you are to believe what is really the truth about yourself. So I love that for positivity. Absolutely use relevant affirmations. Here's another tip. Ask a meaningful question of the day. Ask a meaningful question of the day. So what do we mean by this? So affirmations and expressions of gratitude are helpful because they remind us about what's really important. This is another alternative, and you can ask yourself every morning as well as throughout the day, such as Steve Jobs, the former Steve Jobs, CEO of Apple, started his day, may his soul rest in peace, by asking himself, if today was the last day of my life, would I be happy with what I'm about to do today? So he asked himself every morning that question. I think that's a pretty powerful question. Practice visualization. So if you're a highly visual person, creating a dream board might be the perfect tactic for you. Now you have to put this in front of yourself and make it a habit to review it every morning. So many people create these dream boards and vision boards and then put them under something and let dust gather. And if you don't see them every day, if you don't see them frequently, it's not going to be as effective. So the key to creating a successful dream board lies in making sure the balance of the items on your board reflects your immediate short-term and long-term goals. Your goals should be specific and they should have a deadline. The further away a goal, the less items you should have on your dream board to represent it. So for example, let's say you want to own one day a $6 million horse farm, but you've only just started coaching and you figure that it's about 7 years away. By all means, stick a photo of the horse farm that looks like the one you're envisioning on your board, just to remind yourself that it's your ultimate long-term goal. But make sure the rest of the board includes the things that are achievable in the near future. So you don't want to have a whole bunch of horse stuff there and you're putting it out, I don't know, 6 or 7 years from now, because you want some immediate wins as well to help you get to that next space, right? Okay. So here's some examples. Exercise 15 minutes, drink your smoothie, meditate 15 minutes, spend your breakfast time with family. But here's some later goals to be achieved this year. Might be buying a wedding dress for the August wedding, hiring a VA in 6 months, or producing your first signature book by June. That's something I'm actually working on myself right now. So of course, all of this would be represented by graphics instead of the sentences you see here on the screen. So for instance, with the exercise 15 minutes line, what you might want to do is have a photo of a treadmill, right? It doesn't matter if nobody else knows what your photographs or your graphic symbols mean, because you do. You also don't have to put your daily items on the dream board unless that idea appeals to you and makes you inspired and helps you to organize. But do use it as a practical tool for regularly reviewing your monthly and yearly goals. Do your planning away from the computer. What you want to do is plan your day's most important task or the top 3 priorities. And again, that book that I talked about, the Morning Sidekick Journal, is awesome for that. But do that before you sit down at your computer, because you'll find the ideas flow more easily if you are relaxed, which you're more likely to be sitting in a garden with your coffee or snuggled up on the couch with your little notebook, your sidekick journal, right? So plan those things before you jump on the computer. Center yourself internally. So absolutely, I use prayer. I use a mixture of prayer and meditation to create a de-stressing energization routine. And this involves visualizing. You could look at things like imagining that you're sitting in a forest, listening to a bird song and waterfalls. If you want something more energizing, imagine you're at the very top of the Empire State Building and that you're looking out on a fresh new morning with all the world ahead of you, teeming with life and energy. No matter what type of inner exploration you decide on, one of the best tools you can use is to stop before plummeting into a whirlwind of business activity and listen to the messages from the universe, from God, from your own soul. When you do this, you're going to automatically de-stress yourself. Whatever threatened to overwhelm you now becomes a small part of a well-rounded whole. That's what feeding your soul is all about, and really putting yourself into a different space of energy. What has you worried before now is going to become manageable. You may not know how yet, but you're sure you're going to be able to tackle the things that you need to get done. And what you usually avoid now has you ready to face the day because you've prepared your morning. Even if you're just sitting in silence and letting thoughts come to you rather than chasing them in circles, that can help you get centered and be grounded. And that is the best way to start your day. Number 8 is to make family part of your morning. This is number 8 under step 2. Make family part of your morning. So someone named Ashlyn Cottrell of Care 2 Healthy Living wrote about the morning routines of 23 highly successful people, in which the habit of exercise topped off everything else. But second, there was a routine that many entrepreneurs don't even consider, and that was including quality family time. Look at this chart. So David Cameron, the British Prime Minister, advocates improving quality time by including no TV. Virgin Group founder Sir Richard Branson advocates both exercise and family time in the morning at the top of his list. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, states having a healthy breakfast with family is one of his essential morning routines. And then Howard Schultz, the CEO of Starbucks, makes coffee for himself and his wife. How cool is that? That's cute. So these are small tweaks. And the 20 minutes that you spend getting your kids ready for school, the family breakfast, the early morning coffee with your spouse on the patio, or having the kids jump on the bed for 10 minutes in the morning to chatter about their upcoming day, these are all priceless investments that you could make, not just in your family, but in your own peace and well-being. Let's get to step 3, putting together your energizing routine. It's important to remember that one size definitely doesn't fit all. So you want to create a routine that's simple and that helps you to center, to de-stress, to power up, to be present in your own day. Different things work for different people. So the key is to simplify your first 2 hours down to what doesn't drain or distract you, and what produces the maximum energy, confidence, and focus. So if you find that 10 minutes playing Candy Crush is setting you up better than an hour of meditation, by all means do that. If you find that 10 minutes of Candy Crush becomes 2 hours, And when you finally manage to click away, the last thing you want to tackle is work. That's probably a morning habit that you don't want to adopt. You want to dump that one. And even if you don't really want to, but you find yourself getting distracted by, different games or other things that you're really focused on in the mornings, set yourself a timer with an online alarm. I use something called Egg Timer. Just type in Egg Timer on Google and you'll be able to find this. And then I just give myself a certain amount of time if I'm working on something or getting lost in Facebook or something like that, and I find myself being unable at times to pull away, that nice little handy timer will just go off. It'll buzz very loudly and help me to remember, oh yeah, I need to get back to whatever it was that was important. So let me give you a couple of really quick examples here about people that do things differently. So Tim Cook, Apple Incorporated CEO, likes to check his emails first. That would be an activity that would be distracting or de-energizing for most other people, but he likes to do that. So here's what I'm saying in terms of examples of people that do something that's a little bit different. Robert Iger, Disney CEO, not only likes to check his emails, but he also reads the newspapers and surfs the web. For him, that's an energizer. Ariana Huffington, co-founder and editor-in-chief of the Huffington Post, starts her day with yoga and meditation. And then Craigslist founder Craig Newmark likes to take care of customer complaints first thing in the morning. So he gets rid of those out of his inbox and then moves on with the rest of the day. Now, almost all of these top entrepreneurs do have exercise in common at the top of their personal list. So if you don't know where to start, when you're coming up with your perfect energizing morning routine, start with these 6 essentials. These are activities that will clear away the cobwebs, fire up your neurons, boost your physical and mental energy, and nourish your body and soul. The first one is to set your alarm earlier than usual. Second one is to get up earlier the next day. Third one is open your curtains. We've just talked about these, so this is a little bit of a recap. Fourth one is drink a glass of water first thing before you get your coffee, right? And we're going to make it taste good if we're not really water happy. So get your slices of cucumbers, your lemon, your lime, your oranges. Number 5 is exercise, and number 6 is feed your soul and center yourself. So stop the noise and do something that brings you into contact with your family or your soul center. Everything else you can play around with adding or subtracting as desired, but these 6 routines or parts of the routine are really the top ones in most of the successful people that we researched. This is on their list, any one of these or a blend of these. We said number 7. I've already said that, but that really was part of number 6. Okay, step 4, avoiding the energy wipers. So here are 7 tips to help you avoid activities that are secretly draining you. When you sit down to create your new ideal morning routine, do not do this at your desk. Find a spot where you daydream the most, relax the most, and feel most physically comfortable. Take a notepad and a pen with you and start brainstorming. So we're going to avoid the energy wipers with these quick tips. There's 7 total. First of all, identify the most distracting morning habit that you've adopted. Any habit where you end up spending far more time than you plan to spend without having anything productive or inspiring to show for it, or any task that causes you to procrastinate when you try to do it. Write down your top 3 essential things. Choose one or more activities that inspire you or connect you to your spiritual core. That should say that inspire you or connect you to your core. I'm kind of a grammar freak, so I kind of missed that one. But it's morning. Here we go. Consider choosing the one necessary daily chore you hate the most, the one that makes you procrastinate, and then try tackling that first thing every day. So if vacuuming is your bane of your existence, then get that out of the way first thing, unless you're going to distract the rest of the household. You want to think about practical things you can do as far as daily chores go. Choose one or more activities that stimulate creativity. Now, let me back up a little bit and say this. When you're choosing an activity that stimulates creativity, it could be something as simple as walking your dog. It could be doing a crossword puzzle. My father-in-law loves to play Sudoku in the morning. We talked about tackling that household chore. That's not my favorite, but if that's yours and it helps you avoid being energy wiped, then go for it. Sitting in your garden, I do love that, sitting on my back porch and getting some sun. Using a mind map to free associate. So I use Xmind. It's my favorite mind mapping tool. And it does help me to get ideas out of my head first thing in the morning and really kind of marry those to other things that I want to do so that I can kind of pull that mind map a little bit later up on my iPad and look at it more closely and tweak it and turn it into the next course. Because that's what I've actually been working on, a course that I've been kind of brainstorming. It started with a brainstorm in the morning and a mind map that I had written out about how to be more confident on camera. Another activity might simply be having a hot bath and thinking, right? Instead of that shower in the morning that's so fast, take a hot bath with some bubbles in it and just sit for a bit. Any other suggested morning activity that appeals to you could be part of your plan. And then you also want to subtract your most distracting activity from your new daily routine. So now you're just about ready to put this whole thing into practice. So how are we going to make sure that your workspace empowers you? What we've talked about all this time has been about building personal energy, focus, creativity, and clarity. So let's take a look at how to make sure your environment aids in helping you achieve a productive work day. Separate your home and workspace. It doesn't matter whether you work best on the patio or in your home office. Most experts agree that blurring the lines between your work area and your home area can add to your overall stress. It's more important, however, to make sure that wherever you choose to work is distraction-free once you sit down to do the work. If you have to, shut your dog out, switch the phone to answer mode, disconnect from the internet, whatever you need to do to avoid those distractions. Make sure your workspace inspires you. I wish I had a picture of this. I'll probably have to add this for the next time we come together for this webinar. But I remember a time, right now my workspace is awesome, but it's because I took the time to really just go through and clean out all of the distractions. I painted the walls a certain color to give me calm and creativity, creative energy. I put certain pictures up. There's all kinds of different things you can do to be inspired in your workspace. But set aside some time to reorganize it and think about these questions. Are you using the best space for you? Are you in the best room? Is there a different room you can use? And for me, there was a different room. So instead of using my office that was really kind of sterile and very conservative with wood and all this other stuff, I ended up creating another office upstairs in our den area that, again, allowed more creative energy. Do you need to add something essential like better lighting, an air conditioner, a fan, flowers, plants, not cucumbers, but cactus? A cactus plant is really, really helpful if you have a lot of electronics and digital stuff around. Crystal salt lamps and cacti are really great for helping to reduce the electromagnetic fields that are coming through all of those electronic systems. So you can research that a little bit more. I won't dive into that here, but I do have a crystal salt lamp, and I'm working on getting some cacti because it's been a while. We used to live in Arizona, so I had ample access to them there, but now in Texas, I have to order some more. All right. Is there one or more aspects of your workplace that causes clutter to accumulate? Like, do you have a place where you have piles that are accumulating all the time? And can you put shelves or drawers or something else to help you to organize? Does your workspace stimulate creativity? Does it energize you? So ask yourself all of these questions to help you really start thinking about how can I change that? Even if you are forced to stay in the same room or section of the house, you can still take action. Just make a decision that you're not going to put up with the conditions that distract you or drain your energy anymore. So get that new office chair. Stop wrecking your back. Get an alarm clock if you hate online digital alarms. Find the right shelving unit, one that gives you those extra 2 flat drawers that you need so badly. Make a clean sweep of your workspace. Change it if it's really not working for you. Use a bulletin board or a dream board that you can easily see as you work. And here's one thing, allow yourself one luxury item that is a personal symbol of success. For example, a beautiful painting that you've long desired, or fresh flowers every week. I wish I had a picture of it that I could show you. I'll do this next time. But it's a kind of a metallic decor. It's made of butterflies because I love butterflies, and every time I see butterflies, that always means something positive, something good is getting ready to happen. I swear, it's all my life that's been something that's been very interesting for me to notice. Get rid of anything that's not necessary. So remember, it's a great time to relocate or donate things. And then some things that you can't relocate or donate, just dump them. And when you're finished for the day, take 5 to 10 minutes to tidy up and organize yourself for tomorrow. Then shut the door. Like, make that your sacred space. That I had to tell my kids when I created my new sacred office space. This is my space. Don't mess with it, right? Step 6, set yourself up for productivity. So we're coming to the end right now, and this is the very last step. You've taken care of all the personal stuff. You've taken care of the workspace. Now let's make sure that once you head to the office, you set yourself up for a productive day. The most important thing here is to make sure you focus on being productive, not just busy. A particularly seductive form of procrastination comes in the form of busyness. We suddenly decide, oh, I need to create that Excel database of all my interesting blogs I want to follow, instead of tackling the things that you need to, like maybe a bunch of customer complaints because of something that you posted or released recently. Maybe you research all day and discover that you haven't really written anything down, and what you researched ended up going off on a tangent. Or you clean the stove instead of doing the monthly bookkeeping. Don't get me wrong, sometimes when we do this, it might be a Zen type of activity. If you're cleaning the stove and that's your thing and it helps you to energize, but you really want to be thinking, when you're genuinely at the brainstorming or problem-solving part of a project, you need to focus on things that are going to help you to get that done. Setting yourself up for productivity isn't hard, so let's look at some of the basics. Organize at the end of the day. So we talked a little bit about this as we were talking about preparing for the next day, for the morning, right? Print out or write a list of your top 3 to 6 priorities for the next day at the end of your workday. Make that the last step that you take before shutting down your office and your laptop for the end of the day. Focus on your top priorities for the next day. So how do you determine what your top priorities are? You need to answer these questions. What has to be done? What has a deadline? What's going to bring in actual income? What will actively harm you or your business if you don't do it? And then there's another tip. Keep a list of the day's top priorities where you can see it at all times. Maybe it's on your bulletin board, on your desktop, or on the pad beside the phone. Make sure you know what your time is worth, because you'll be less inclined to allow yourself to be unproductive if you have a realistic idea of what your time is worth. Not just what you charge clients hourly, but how much money each activity you do during the day brings in. So personally, one of the things that I am doing right now is setting up a brand new private one-on-one coaching session around charging what you're worth, because I'm finding that a lot of my clients and people who I am working with as colleagues are struggling with that. So if you want more information, continue to follow me over on Facebook, and also get onto my Messenger subscription list. All right. Organize for your VA. If you already have or use a VA, make sure you build organizing work for her into the latter half of your morning routine. Or you could set aside a block of time each week to do this. Now, of course, you don't have to organize your day the night before. You don't have to declutter, move, or update your office space. You don't have to automate or use a VA or change any part of your daily routine whatsoever yet. But just start by focusing on the first 2 hours of your day. Remove those time-draining activities and replace them with new ones that energize and change in your normal routine should be more than enough to kick in that snowball effect that we talked about earlier. And if you do all the things that we've talked about, if you just take a few of the tips that we've talked about to focus on those first 2 hours of your day, your newfound energy and productivity will make for more clarity, which will allow for better focus, which will also inspire you to streamline your day even further once you've got going and seeing what you actually can achieve with this new get up and go. So I promised that we would begin to wrap up right about this time. I'm going to share with you really quickly here a little bit about what's happening over at Mindfully Marketing, and then I'm going to take questions. So what I'm going to do is switch us off of the share screen right now and switch myself back on. And I'm also going to check real quick and just make sure, see if we have any questions or comments inside of our Facebook feed here. So I need to do a quick refresh just to make sure that I can see those. All right. Okay, no questions. I knew, because it's so early in the morning, that you might be silently watching and paying attention and consuming your coffee as you're listening to me. So I want to make sure that you know that I am here. And if you do have questions, if there's anything that you would like to share with me, if there's anything that you have a question about or a comment about, let me know. But meanwhile, let me share a little bit with you about Mindfully Marketing. So as I mentioned, I shared a little bit about how we actually were born, how this business, this idea, this concept of mindful marketing, it's really all about simplifying your marketing so that you get the best results, but also so that you balance your day so that you understand that how you're doing life is how your business is going to be doing, okay? How you do life is how you do everything. So if you're taking care of yourself, if you're making sure you structure your days properly, if you're making the effort intentionally to balance your mornings and to even balance the rest of your day and to focus on the things that are most important, and I'm not talking about the cash, I'm talking about the other things that are intangible, that's going to help you to have a better success rate with your marketing too. So at Mindfully Marketing, we have a lot of great resources, and I hope that you will take the time to go check those out. Just simply go to mindfullymarketing.com/work with me, and in between work with me, there's some dashes there. So that's one area where you can find a lot of the different resources and courses and things that we have going on right now. Another place that you can find me is right on Facebook. So at facebook.com/Tanya Smith Online. You'll see a lot of information, as I mentioned, in the sidebar, or you can click on Learn More if you're on your mobile device, your tablet, or your phone. If you click on Learn More, it will take you to an area similar to the place on my website where you'll find resources about or information about what we have going on, including our Mindful Marketers Club, which I absolutely love. We do live training twice a month. This coming month, we're going to be focusing on that on-camera confidence piece that I talked about. And you'll also have the ability to be able to access that course. If you're finding that you're getting left behind in your business because you refuse to put your face on a camera, then that course is going to be right for you. So definitely get signed up and get on over there. Meanwhile, it has been my pleasure speaking to you this morning and coming together to share how creating daily success rituals has changed my life and my business. And I hope that it will change yours too. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have an amazing week and that you just download that worksheet that I mentioned that's right here on the page, go through it, and take action on at least one or more of the items that we encourage you to. All right, take care, and we will see you next time.